I'm Shelby, and I'm sharing my POTS story of obstacles, diagnosis, in the hopes that this will inspire other people to share their stories and to let you know that you're not alone. People who are struggling, fighting to get a correct diagnosis, you're not alone. And this will take probably several short episodes because I don't want to do them in large chunks, but I just wanted to get it started. I was diagnosed with POTS at 16, but like most other people, just because you're diagnosed at 16, usually the problem's been around for years, and mine started very young, probably around between 10 and 11 years old. I started having issues with things like what doctors were first saying were panic attacks or anxiety attacks, because my mom would take me to the ER because I was having trouble breathing and I felt like my heart was pounding out of my chest. So they said it was probably just anxiety, or my mom was trying to get attention, when in reality there was something else going on. And this went around for a long time, and I had other health issues too. I've always struggled with GI issues, and at some point I remember the doctors at some point maybe accusing my mother of like child abuse, because I have spoken with CPS back when I was younger before, not understanding why. They don't really understand. It's like, why are you getting sick? You're not being fed. No, I just had a lot of issues, and like most people, a lot of people with POTS have struggled with GI issues, whether that's throwing up, diarrhea, nausea, constipation. I've had it all, and it's not just, you can't just fix it, and the medications that they'd give you for constipation would give me diarrhea, and vice versa. Like, they'd give me something to help the diarrhea, and then I'd immediately go into constipation that required an emergency room or hospital stay when I was younger. So that was unfortunate. But despite these issues, and despite I was diagnosed at like 13 with osteoporosis because I broke my foot just stepping on a rock with tennis shoes on. And despite all the problems that I was exhibiting, it wasn't until I was 16 that I was diagnosed, after a week-long stay at a hospital. Now, what happened was, at the end of my sophomore year, I was on the first day of exams, and I never even made it to school. I woke up, and I couldn't see. Like, I woke up from bed, and I couldn't see correctly. And, like, my vision was, like, tilted. It would constantly do this very quickly. And as soon as I would do that, I had an insane headache. My heart was racing. I started vomiting all over myself. Just from turning my neck, I would be vomiting. And I've just never felt so sick in my entire life. My mom had to go to work. She thought maybe I just had the flu, so she kept me home and went to work for a little bit and came back, and she found me on the floor in the bathroom in the corner on the ground, because I had over 6 hours, because I had to go to the bathroom. I had to crawl to get to the bathroom, and I just couldn't make it out from there. So at this point, she knew she had to take me to the emergency room, and she got me into the car, and we had no idea I had no idea what was going on. I just know I felt bad. I couldn't really walk, and she did her best to get me out there, and they got me in the ER, and I remember just laying over the chair, over like 3 chairs in the ER, puking on the floor, waiting for them to see me. And by the time they got me into the ER, I think my mom knew it was serious, because they did an MRI directly at that emergency room, which they never do. And then when they came back in the room, I was so sick I couldn't even open my eyes. I remember my mom crying because they had found something on the MRI, and they thought maybe it was a brain bleed. So were going to transport me via ambulance to another hospital that was capable of had a children's ward and would be capable of handling this. And that's where I'm going to call it for this episode. Is they loaded me up into a ambulance with my mom. Had to drive separately, and I didn't even know what was going on. I honestly thought I was going to die because I felt like that, and it was so bad. Part of me didn't care because I was in so much pain. I was so sick. I didn't know what was going on, but they got me. They loaded me up, and off I went. And I will continue talking about more of it in the next episode.